Welcome to yet another edition of Story Time with Uncle Sage. This is the story of the time I witnessed a brutal Asian gang fight. Now, this story is so bizarre for me that when it was over, I wondered if I imagined the whole thing. It's one of the few times in life where I wondered if I'd seen it or imagined it. But trust me, it was real and it was scary, and I was completely unaware that such things went on in the world. So this is a story from back when I was young, and I nearly starved to death as a young working musician. And I had many different types of jobs to support myself until I got established in the music business, and one of those was a security guard. And honestly, I never saw anything noteworthy as a security guard, but one night, late at night, after working the night shift, I was headed home, and I was driving through a neighborhood in Arlington, Texas. Now, this was just your run-of-the-mill, average, middle-class neighborhood. I imagine most of the people lived around there were older folks or retired people, and all the homes were nice and well-manicured. But on this one particular corner, there was a vacant lot. A well-mowed vacant lot. I drove past it every night when I came home from work. On this night, when I came to the intersection where the red light was, where the vacant lot was, there were several, 7 or 8 cars of various sorts, haphazardly stopped in the middle of the road with the lights on and doors open. And I was like, what the heck is going on? Is there a car wreck? What's going on? And I look over at the vacant lot, and there's about 40 people in this vacant lot, all of them Asian. And they're kung fu fighting. And I don't mean like hand to hand. I mean, they've got, kung fu weapons, and they're going at it with swords and all kinds of weird, so one guy had what looked like a staff with a big wicked looking sword attached to the end of it. Several of them had what looked like shiny chrome sharpened shovels. I've since discovered that this is a martial arts weapon that I was completely unaware of. And many of them had swords of various sorts, and they were fighting. They were trying to kill each other. And so being a security guard and being kind of fearless when I was young, and I did legally possess the only gun I could afford, a sawed-off single-shot shotgun, a 16 gauge, ironically, that I kept, wedged between the seat and my pickup. So, I don't know, I guess part of me was appalled that this was going on in such a nice neighborhood, and that these people had the guts to go out in polite society and behave this way, that I rolled up right next to the curb with my shotgun in the seat and the window rolled down on the passenger side. And when I rolled up, there was 2 guys closest to me fighting, and the guy with his back to me had a big sword, and the guy that was facing him had one of these sharpened shovel looking things. And yeah, he makes a big overhand sweep towards the guy with the shovel and misses, and the guy with the shovel does one of these over the head, type of sideways slashes, and he hits this guy in the head right about here, and it came in this way, and it peeled the top of his skull back like this. Really, it left it attached kind of right here, and when he tilted his head like this, his scalp would, and I could see his brain. His scalp would just like this, and the guy backed up, stumbled, still holding his sword. He turned around and he walked straight towards me, and he saw me, and we made eye contact. And I figured this guy had to be dead. There's just no way he's surviving getting the top of his skull cleaved off by this sharpened shovel. And he starts walking towards me with this sword, kind of pointing it at me, like he was going to come at me. And I laid that shotgun up on the windowsill. And I said, "Get back from my car." And then I yelled out to the crowd, you guys freaking stop this right now. I'm calling the police. Stop it. Stop what you're doing right now. And 3 or 4 of them turned around and ran straight towards my car. And I peeled off and took out of there. I thought about shooting at them, but, I only had a single shot. And, what did I care if a bunch of guys killed each other? So I went to the nearest payphone and I called the police and reported it. And then which is quite a drive from that area, and then I drove back over there, and there were a few cop cars going around, but there was no sign whatsoever of this big gang fight. My light's going out. So anyway, yeah, there was no sign of it, And so I went back to the payphone and I called the police dispatcher back, and they said, look, we went and checked it out. We didn't see any sign of what you're talking about. I wondered if it even happened. It was so quick. It was so bizarre. And I'll never forget that day. And yeah, the crazy things you experience when you live in this world. Anyway, the time I saw a guy get his head nearly cleaved off by a sharpened shovel. Bizarre.